was one of those mornings. Okay. Oh, so everybody's feeling good. Good to see everybody. All right. So let's go ahead and just begin practice, just getting comfortable. You can choose either to stay seated or you can come into a reclined position and just have a little morning meditation this morning. So take your time, figure out whichever posture works best for you. I'm going to come into a reclined position and use any props that you'd like, any bolsters, blankets. You don't have to use anything at all if you don't like to, but always a nice little addition sometimes to our practice. So just get into a comfortable position. Just recline, close the eyes, or you can stay seated and close the eyes and just envision if you're staying seated, envision just a lift coming through the crown of the head. But if you recline, just envision just a softness coming over the body. Just melting into the earth and just letting go. Just letting everything go to begin with. And then begin to notice the breath. Let's start with the breath. Just begin to notice the quality of the breath, how it is coming into the body this morning as you arrive on your mat. Just notice it moving in. Notice it moving into the belly and into the heart. Allow the lips to remain sealed and just let the breath move out the nose. A few times, just like this. Just bring that breath into the belly, into the chest, maybe deepen it just a little bit. And then allow the lips to stay closed, but let that breath come out through the nose. And to create a whisper-like sound at the back of the throat. Kind of like you're fogging a mirror with the lips sealed. And just take a moment and notice where the mind is. Maybe the mind is right here with our class this morning, or maybe it is elsewhere. Just notice where that mind is. Just breathe in. Let go. Just envision the thoughts beginning to lift up and over the body and just allow them to leave. Just let them lift up and away, kind of like a cloud. Just envision where that mind is, whatever it is. Breathe into that thought. And then just allow it to go. And just creating a blank canvas for our practice this morning. Just be here now. Notice the breath, really notice the breath. And when you find the mind beginning to wander, just bring the attention back to this breath. You can do this throughout your day, at any point in the day. Just when the mind is wandering, bring it back to the breath. And find some movement in the palms. Breathe into the wrists, breathe into the fingers. Oh, take a nice full body stretch. Just breathe. If you are seated, come into a reclined position and just join us in this full body stretch. Just reach, wiggle the wrists and the and the ankles out. Spread the fingers, whatever feels good. Whatever feels good. And then just bend through the elbows, come into that goalpost arm. Let the back of the hands come onto the mat or onto the earth, and just let the shoulders open nice and wide. Just take a full breath right here. And then interlace the fingers, flip the palms up towards the sky, flip them back behind you, take a breath in, and then just roll the palms a little bit, bring them up and overhead, and just bring the hands by the sides of the body, and then just bring the feet onto the earth. Feet onto the earth. Scooch the bum down a little bit. So lift the tailbone up and then place it a little closer to the feet and just lengthen through the back body. Oh, hi, Charlie. And then just let the knees slowly sway from side to side. Let the knees just gently go back and forth. And then bring those knees in towards the chest. Just give yourself a nice hug, a little rock back and forth on the back. You can reach the feet up towards the sky and grasp onto the big toes or the outsides of the feet, or always the thighs, an option. Just take a happy baby pose. Maybe kind of reach one foot at a time. See what feels good in this happy baby. And then we're going to bring the feet back down with the mat. And your choice, either bring the soles of the feet together and just open up with the knees. You can bring on the palms onto the belly and just kind of check in with the body right here in Supta Baddha Konasana. Or you can walk the feet apart and bring the knees in towards one another. So just see what feels best. We're going to take about 5 cycles of breath here. So just take your choice and see where the body is this morning. And just close the eyes, bring the palms on top of the belly. Tune back into that breath. Take 5 cycles of breath right here. And if you'd like to transition from one posture to the next, if you'd like to bring the knees together or open them up, just take whichever posture feels best for you this morning. A couple more breaths. And then just gently bring those knees together. And if the knees are already together, just walk the feet together. Let's bend the knees once again. Oh, rock a little bit back and forth. Just open up the palms out to a T and let the knees fall over towards the right. And let the shoulder, the left shoulder, get nice and heavy. Nice and heavy. Let the gaze either stay to the sky or maybe bring it out towards the left. Just take a full breath right here. You can roll the wrists a few times, maybe make a couple of fists. And then take an inhale. We'll bring the knees up through center. Just take a moment, straighten out through the spine, and then let the knees fall over towards the left. Let that right shoulder get nice and heavy. Let the gaze come out over that right palm. And just breathe. Nice big breath. And then on an inhale, bring the knees up through center. Just pull those knees in towards the chest. And then your choice, you can either rock and roll on the back body and bring yourself up to a seated position, or just roll over to the side body and push your way up. Just see what feels better for you. I'm going to turn this light right ahead of me off. It might be a little less bright for everybody. Yeah, I think that actually probably this one's fine. I think so. Okay. Brings a little softer ambiance in here. So let's just go ahead and find a nice seated position. And just close the eyes. And again, kind of envision a string from the crown of the head, just reaching and pulling up. And just really lifting through the spine, lengthening from the low back. Just breathing into that. And let's roll the shoulders up. And we're going to bring the shoulders forward and pull the belly in. Kind of hard to see. I'm all black, but just round forward. So almost like a cat-cow kind of posture, but completely rounding forward. And then roll those shoulders up and back and open up. So lift the gaze, kind of push the stomach out a little bit. And then same thing. Round. Roll it forward and bring it on back. One more time. Roll the shoulders up and forward, pull the belly in, let the head go forward, and roll the shoulders up and back. Very nice. And then just drop those shoulders down. Drop the shoulders down, and let's drop the left ear over towards the left shoulder and just focus on dropping this right shoulder down. Just let that right shoulder get kind of heavy. Take a couple of nods, a couple of yeses with the chin. And then bring the hand down. Get even a little bit more weight going through that shoulder, and then push the shoulder back. So you should feel a nice big stretch right through here in the neck. And then just gently bring the shoulder forward and just bring the gaze up, and let's roll the neck a few times. Just a few little half circles. Just bring that gaze back up. Let's reach the palms up towards the sky. Take a breath in, twist all the way over, twist behind us. Nice big twist. Breathe in, just put those little fingers right in behind us. Nice big breath in. And then gaze forward, unwind, plant the left hand, reach up with the right. Oh, nice big stretch through the side body. And then nice big lift through the belly, lift through the heart. Let's forward fold. Let's go ahead and forward fold. Just walk the hands right in front of you. Let the head go. Let it go. And then just walk the hands back up. Walk it back up. Change the cross of the legs. And if it doesn't feel comfortable to sit in a cross-legged position, you definitely don't have to. Or you can always stand up on a bolster or a blanket. That really helps. But you can also leave the feet out in front of you, or just whichever feels comfortable for you here this morning. So go ahead and let's just roll the shoulders without getting the belly and everything involved. Let's just do a few nice shoulder rolls. Change the direction. Maybe just one shoulder at a time forward, one shoulder at a time back. And then just let the shoulders become nice and heavy and sit up nice and tall once again. And let's go ahead and bring the right ear towards the right shoulder and just kind of isolate that left shoulder. Drop the left shoulder down a little bit. Maybe bring the hand down onto the mat, the fingers down onto the mat. Take a couple of nods if you'd like to. Just make sure it feels okay on the neck and it's not too much. And then pause with those yeses with the chin, and then just push back with that right shoulder a little bit, or excuse me, with your left shoulder. Just push it back a little bit. And then just kind of gently bring it forward and bring the head up. And let's do a couple of those little half moon rolls with the neck again. Maybe bring it all the way around. Make sure it feels okay. And then just pause and reach the hands up to the sky. Breathe in. Take your twist out over towards the left this time. Roll that left shoulder up and back. Bring that gaze right behind you. Breathe in. Gently unwind. Bring the right hand down and left hand up. Nice big side body stretch. Reach, reach. Go ahead and bring it down, and then lift up with the belly, lift up with the heart. Exhale. Let's take a forward fold. Nice forward fold right here. And then go ahead, just walk it back up. And let's reach the feet out in front of us and just kind of shake it out a little bit. Just kind of reach and grasp onto the bum a little bit and kind of pull some of that cushion out from underneath us so we're sitting right up on the sit bones. Lift up nice and tall through the belly. Let's just sit for just a moment. Roll the shoulders up and back. Just kind of push the hands into the earth. Just gaze out in front of us, just right at those toes. Just come into staff position for a moment. Just a nice big breath. And then go ahead and just kind of lift the hands up, lift the belly up even more. Lengthen through the low back here. We want to lengthen through the low back. And then exhale, let's take our forward fold. Now maybe it's just a little fold this morning, and that's okay. You can gaze out towards those toes. You can bring the hands down. When you feel that you're at that point where you are just not folding anymore, then go ahead and just drop the chin down. So just take a nice, gentle forward fold. It doesn't have to be anything extreme this morning. Just take a nice breath in and then exhale, let it go, maybe even a little deeper. We'll go ahead and tuck the chin, and we're just gonna roll up, roll back up, and bring the feet behind us. Let's come into table pose here this morning. So just come into your table pose. Just bring the palms onto the mat. Nice and wide, knees just directly underneath the hips. And just begin to find some movement. Lift the tailbone, lift the gaze, use the breath, breathe in. And exhale, round. Few times. Now maybe you find a nice little sweet spot and you just want to stay there for a cycle of breath. That's okay. Just find the movement that works for you for your cat-cows. So it feels really nice right here just being rounded. So I'm just going to pause here for an extra breath. Okay. Move with the flow that feels good for you. Try to let the breath ignite the movement though. Come back to that Ujjayi Pranayama breath, that whisper tone. Breathe it. Let it be audible to you. And then pause just with a nice neutral spine. Let's tuck the toes. Now your choice, you don't have to go up into downward dog today. You can walk your table out, but otherwise, for anybody that is feeling like going into downward dog, just make your way into a nice gentle down dog and just begin to walk your dog out. Just tread one knee at a time. And so if you're not feeling the downward dog this morning, that's okay. Stay in table and walk your table out just like this. Your choice. See what feels good to you. Shake the head out wherever you're at. Shake it all out. And then just bring the knees down onto the earth if you're in down dog. Untuck them and send the hips back. Find child's pose. Open up the knees if you'd like to. Let the head go. Maybe even bring the palms behind us today. And just really let the shoulders open up away from the shoulder blades. And take a couple more fists here if it feels good. Just take a nice full breath in. And then reach the hands forward. And let's go ahead. We're going to walk the palms forward. Just bring the elbows this time onto the mat. So the knees are on the mat, elbows are on the mat, just underneath the shoulders. And again, we're going to tuck the toes, and this time lift up into dolphin. So if this doesn't feel good, you can keep the knees down and still kind of walk your dolphin out. But otherwise, just lift up into dolphin and just take about 3 cycles of breath right here. So getting a little deeper stretch into those hamstrings, into the calves. Take a nice breath. And then bring the knees on down, untuck the toes. Once again, find child's pose. Once again, find child's pose. Take a nice full breath in your child's pose. Let it go. And then this time, walk the fingers forward. Walk them forward. So keep the knees on the earth. Just let the chest melt down towards the mat. And find your heart chakra opening pose this morning, or your puppy dog pose. Let's take a nice cycle of breath here. Nice big opening in that upper back body. And then just let the chest come forward. Let the belly come onto the mat. Bring the palms just kind of underneath the chin and just shake it out a little bit. Shake out those hips. Shake them out. So let's bring the feet up. Just windshield wiper the feet back and forth. Windshield wiper those feet. And then bring the feet down. So let's open up the arms. Open up the arms. We're going to get a nice little shoulder stretch again here. And just keep that right hand stretched out. Or excuse me, right hand stretched out. And just plug that left palm into the earth. And then just roll up onto that right shoulder, just very, very gently. Now, if it's too big of a stretch on the shoulder, just back off from it. But you should get a nice big opening there through the shoulder. And then just gently make your way back down. And we're going to change sides. So bring the right hand in and just kind of roll up onto that left shoulder. Same thing, nice big opener. And then just kind of roll back down. So now we're going to I'm just going to face forward so everybody can kind of see where I'm going here. We're going to bring both palms onto the earth. Nice little lift through the heart. And just dip one shoulder at a time. And take a serpent's pose here. So just kind of feel that, dipping one shoulder in at a time. Nice big opener for the back body. Get those shoulders moving a little bit. And then when you feel complete, just bring it on down. Just bring yourself back down to the mat and just pause and just take a little rest on those shoulders. And we're gonna come back to the feet. So bring those feet up again and just kind of lay that left ear down on the mat. A little tough with my earmuffs. And then reach back for that right foot. So if you can grasp onto the foot, great. If you can't, sometimes a strap is really nice to use here. And if you don't have a strap handy, and if it's too far, you can even just leave that foot lifted. But if it feels good, take a little grasp onto that right foot. Just give a nice tug in towards the body. Nice tug. Just be gentle. Make sure you're not tugging too hard. Should just feel a nice stretch up here through the quadricep area. And then go ahead and release that foot down. Let's change sides. So go ahead and bring that right ear onto the mat. Reach back for that left foot. Reach back. Give it a little tug in. Go ahead and let it come down. And then just bring the chin back onto the hands here. A little cushion and just windshield wiper the feet back and forth. And then maybe just leave the feet lifted if that feels good. You can do that. But if you'd like to, maybe reach back for both feet. Maybe reach back for both feet. And then pull the shoulder blades together. And then just for fun, see if you can flex those feet. Find a little lift, just a very, very gentle lift right here through the heart. And then just let the feet unflex. Bring them down, shake the hips out. Shake the hips out, bring the palms underneath the shoulders. Nice little lift. So gaze down at the mat. Gaze down almost just between the hands here. Nice lift into a baby cobra here. And then go ahead and bring it back down. And we're gonna push our way up through table. And your choice, either tuck the toes and make your way into downward facing dog, or you can stay right here in table. But either way, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take some steps on up and make our way to the front of our mat. And just come into a nice forward fold at the front of the mat. Just let the head go. You can grasp onto opposite elbows if you'd like to. You can rock back and forth if that feels good. A little bend into the knees and rise all the way up. Full big breath in. And then bring the palms down to heart center. And let's just stay here for just a moment in this standing position. So notice the feet for a moment. Just close the eyes if it feels okay for your balance. Just notice the feet. And notice if they are equally touching the mat, if the heels and toes are both into the mat. Feel a lift coming through the sole of the foot. And envision that lift right in like the arch of the foot, just lifting up, finding stillness this way. Lifting through the body, bringing its way all the way up to the crown of the head. Just take a nice big breath. Really feeling grounded in our mountain pose here this morning. And blink the eyes open if they're closed. Let's go ahead. Take a nice big inhale, reach the palms up to the sky, breathe it in. And exhale, forward fold. Let the palms come up to the shins, lengthen through the back body. So lengthen through the back of the legs. And exhale, forward fold. Little bend in the knees. Let's rise all the way up. Breathe it in. And exhale, bring the palms to heart center. And once again, nice big lift, breathe in. Exhale, forward fold. Palms to the shins, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And then in this fold, just heel toe the feet apart. Let's walk the feet all the way out to a nice wide-legged stance here. So nice wide-legged stance. Just bring the hands down onto the mat if that feels okay. You can use a block here or a bolster. Just let the head go. And go ahead and just leave that right hand planted on the earth. And let's lift up with the left hand. Nice lift. Breathe it in. And change direction. So bring that left hand down and let's reach up with the right. One more time. Bring the right hand down, lift up the left. Bring the left hand down and reach up with the right. And then bring both hands down. Both hands down once again. Just find that wide-legged forward fold. Let the head go. Shake it out a little bit. Just do what feels good here in this forward fold. So a couple of options. You can just leave the head and the hands nice and forward, or we can bring the palms up onto the hips. And if you want to get really crafty and creative, you can bring the hands behind the back body and interlace them and let them come up and overhead. Couple options. And then wherever you're at, let's go ahead. We're going to heel toe the feet back in. So bring the hands back down to the mat. Just heel toe those feet back in together, nice and gently. Nice and gently. A little bend into the knees. And let's begin to lift up and just find a chair pose here. Just a nice chair pose. Just a little bit. Nothing crazy this morning. And then go ahead and stand up nice and tall once again, back in your table pose. Just take a full breath right here in table. Let it go. And then flow with the palms. Nice big breath in, breathe. Exhale, forward fold. Bring the palms up onto the shins. Lengthen through that back body. And exhale and fold. And this time we're going to step back with the left foot. Leave that right foot forward. Just rock back and forth a little bit on those toes. Just bring that left knee down. Right knee is forward. You can flip the mat if you'd like to. Have a little cushion underneath the left knee if that feels better. Just keep that knee forward. And then reach up to the sky. Take a nice full breath in. You can also leave the palms right here on the knee if that feels better. Nice full breath in. And then we're going to float the palms down onto the inside of the right foot. So onto the inside of the right foot, maybe walk the right foot over just a little bit. And then maybe roll just a little bit onto the outside of that right foot. So facing forward here, just kind of show where I'm at just a little bit here. If you'd like to, you can always come down onto the forearms. That's an option if you're feeling very flexy this morning. Otherwise, just stay right where you're at. Just take a full breath. And then gently roll back onto the sole of that foot. Roll back onto the sole of that foot. Bring the right palm back onto the outside of the right foot. And let's sink back. Let's sink back and lift up with those right toes. Lift up, lengthen through the leg. Get that nice hamstring stretch right here. And then if you really want to add on a little something special, we're going to walk the palms, both palms all the way over onto the right-hand side of the foot. So all the way over, you should get a nice stretch through that IT band here. And then bring the hands back. Bend back into that knee. Plant the palms, lift up with the toe, and step all the way forward, back into your forward folds. Bring the palms up to the shins. Lengthen through the back of the legs. Exhale, fold. Little bend into the knees and step back with that right foot and just leave the left foot forward. You can flip the mat if you'd like to. Bring the knee down. Bring the knee down, just sink down into that knee for a moment. Sink it on down. And then your choice. Lift into whichever variation feels good for you. Maybe the palms lift. Maybe we just stay right here. But knee directly out over the ankle. Nice big breath. And then fold down, palms on the inside of this left foot. And then roll maybe just a little bit if it feels okay. You can always leave the foot flat. But if it feels good, roll just a little bit onto the outside of that left foot. Take a breath. You can always come down to the forearms if that even feels better. A block or a bolster is great to have here. And then roll back onto that foot. Just bring the left palm onto the outside and let's sink back. Sink back, lift up with those left toes. Lengthen here. Nice big lengthen through the back body. Let go. And then a little lift and maybe walk both hands all the way over. Maybe walk both hands all the way over. And then bring the hands back. Go ahead and just bend back into that knee. Let's tuck through the right toes, lift up with the right knee. And we're gonna step back with the foot. Just step back into downward dog. Just kind of shake it out a little bit, or you can step back into table if that feels better. But just kind of wiggle the hips a little bit. Shake everything out. Bring the knees onto the earth and just peel up. Peel on up and untuck the toes. And we're gonna bring our way back onto the back body. So just gently roll back onto the back body and just pull the knees in towards the chest. Just a nice big hug. Nice big hug. Maybe bring the forehead up just for a moment. Nice and long. And then just let go. Go ahead and grasp onto toes and take a happy baby pose once again. Kind of kick everything out just a little bit. See what feels good here. And then go ahead and just bring the feet down to the mat. Let's cross the right foot over on top of the left thigh. And just reach through and grasp onto the back of that left thigh. Take a nice hip opener here. Can roll the ankle a few times. Now, if you want to add on to these hip openers, if you ever want to give it a little something extra, you can always grasp on, to the top of the calf. So you bend that knee and grasp onto the top of the calf. That'll really get in there. But not totally necessary. Just a little fun trick if you're in the mood. And then bring the foot down and just release the right foot. Maybe windshield wiper the knees a couple of times. And then let's go ahead. Left foot, cross it on over. Reach through, grasp onto the back of that right thigh. Just breathe into any tension. Send the breath to anything that feels tense or tight. Breathe there. Let it soften as you exhale. You can reach through again if you want to do that fun little party trick of grasping onto the top of the right shin. That's an option. See what feels good to you. And go ahead and bring that foot down and just uncross the left foot. Windshield wiper the knees a little bit. Maybe let them just hang on one side. And hang on the other side. Just see what feels good. And then yogi's choice, whatever pose feels like it is calling to you this morning, go ahead and take that posture. Just see what feels right to you. Maybe bring the soles of the feet together again and join me in this reclined bound angle. Or anything that feels good to you. Just see and feel it out. See what feels right. And take a few cycles of breath there. And then when you're ready, just begin to release the body into your Savasana. Just begin to let go. Find a comfortable position for your Savasana. So anything works. You can bring the legs up against the wall. You can just lie flat on the mat. You can use a blanket or a pillow. Lie back in your bed if you'd like to. Wherever you would like to take your Savasana. Go ahead and find that special spot for you. And just begin to really let go of everything. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth and let the eyes soften. Just let yourself completely be. And just stay right here in your Savasana. Stay here as long as you'd like. I'm so grateful that you have come this morning to share your practice with me. And I wish everybody a safe and blessed week. Much love to everybody. Be happy and be free. Namaste.